Welcome to Bookwaves Audio. This is your full audiobook on how to understand anyone instantly. In this audiobook, you will discover the science and art of reading people, understanding hidden motivations, and connecting with anyone effectively. By mastering these skills, you will improve communication, strengthen relationships, and enhance influence in all areas of life. Before we start, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a new audiobook. Each chapter is designed to guide you step by step through techniques that are easy to follow and ready to apply in real life. You will learn how to observe, listen, empathize, adapt, and predict behavior with confidence. Throughout this audiobook, you will hear practical examples and strategies that are suitable for daily interactions in social settings, work environments, or personal relationships. We have structured each chapter to build upon the previous one so that your understanding grows continuously and naturally. Get ready to transform the way you perceive others. Pay attention, listen carefully, and imagine applying these insights immediately. By the end of this audiobook, you will have the tools to understand people more deeply, respond effectively, and create meaningful connection. Let's begin this journey together. Chapter 1. The power of perception. Understanding anyone begins with perception. Perception is the lens through which we view the world, interpret actions, and respond to situations. Every individual sees life shaped by their past experiences, beliefs, emotions, and values. The way you perceive people directly affects how you understand them and how you communicate. To understand anyone instantly, the first step is awareness of your own perception and how it influences your interpretation of others. When you meet someone, your brain immediately begins forming an impression. This impression can be accurate, or it may be clouded by biases and assumptions. Humans naturally categorize people based on previous encounters and personal experiences. These mental categories help you navigate social interactions quickly, but can also distort reality if left unchecked. Becoming conscious of your own biases allows you to adjust your perception and approach each person with a clearer mind. Observing without judgment gives you a more accurate understanding of human behavior. Body language is one of the most important aspects of perception. The way someone carries themselves communicates confidence, openness, defensiveness, or discomfort. Standing tall with relaxed shoulders conveys security and confidence. Slouching, crossing arms, or avoiding eye contact may indicate unease or reservation. Facial expressions provide deeper insight into emotions. A slight smile, a furrowed brow, or a tightened jaw conveys feelings that words may conceal. Micro-expressions are brief, involuntary facial expressions that reveal a person's true emotions. Learning to notice these subtle cues strengthens your ability to perceive others accurately. Eye contact is a vital component of understanding people. Direct gaze communicates engagement and confidence. Avoiding eye contact can signal nervousness, shyness, or concealment. Rapid blinking, pupil dilation, and subtle eye movements often reveal stress, excitement, or discomfort. Eyes are one of the most expressive parts of the human body. Observing them carefully allows you to detect emotions before words are spoken. Tone of voice communicates emotion and intent. Even when words seem neutral, pitch, speed, volume, and rhythm reveal feelings and urgency. A calm, steady tone indicates confidence, while a shaky, hesitant voice may indicate anxiety. Emphasis on certain words signals priorities and focus. Learning to interpret tone adds a significant layer to perception, complementing observation of physical gestures and expressions. Patterns in behavior improve perception. People often repeat actions in response to thoughts, feelings, and environmental stimuli. Observing repeated behaviors allows you to anticipate reactions and understand motivations. Clusters of signals are more reliable than individual gestures. For example, crossed arms combined with tense shoulders, avoidance of eye contact, and a rigid posture consistently indicate discomfort or resistance. Observing patterns rather than isolated signals increases accuracy in perception. Context is essential when interpreting behavior. Every action occurs within a social, cultural, and environmental framework. Ignoring context can lead to misinterpretation. A behavior that appears defensive in one setting may be entirely normal in another. Awareness of context ensures accurate understanding of intentions and emotions. Social norms, cultural backgrounds, past experiences, and the immediate environment all influence behavior and perception. Empathy is a key skill in developing accurate perception. Empathy is the ability to understand another person's feelings and perspective. By imagining yourself in someone else's situation, you can perceive their thoughts and emotions more accurately. Empathy removes personal bias from observation and enhances understanding. A person who practices empathy observes without judgment and interprets signals with compassion, increasing the accuracy of their perception. Attention is crucial. Focused observation allows you to notice subtle gestures, expressions, and tonal shifts that reveal hidden information. Distraction reduces perceptual accuracy and increases assumptions. To improve observation, focus on small details such as hand movements, posture changes, breathing patterns, and micro-expressions. Attention allows you to gather comprehensive information about a person's internal state and intentions. Awareness of personal bias is essential for accurate perception. Everyone carries biases shaped by culture, upbringing, and previous experiences. These biases color perception and can distort understanding. Recognizing your biases helps you interpret behavior more objectively. Reflect on why you interpret actions a certain way, and question assumptions regularly. Continuous self-awareness strengthens perceptual accuracy and understanding of others. Active observation involves noticing behaviors without labeling or judging. Observing without filtering through preconceptions allows reality to reveal itself naturally. When you let go of expectations, patterns become apparent. Initial impressions may be incomplete or misleading. Observation over time helps reveal consistent behaviors and emotional states. Patience in observation increases the accuracy of understanding. Listening enhances perception. Active listening requires full attention to words, tone, and pauses. People communicate truth through a combination of speech and behavior. Words provide context, but observing tone and accompanying gestures reveals true meaning. Combining observation with listening creates a more holistic understanding of a person. Reflection solidifies perception. After interactions, think about what you observed. Compare repeated patterns and consider context and potential biases. Reflection allows you to correct misjudgments and refine your interpretations. Over time, reflection improves instinctive understanding of people and strengthens intuition. Confidence in perception grows with practice. Regularly observing behaviors, gestures, expressions, and tones trains your mind to recognize subtle signals quickly. You begin to understand people accurately without conscious effort. Confidence does not mean arrogance or assumption. It means trusting your observations while remaining aware that perception is a continuous learning process. Perception shapes relationships. Accurate perception enables effective communication, reduces misunderstandings, and fosters trust. Understanding people before responding allows proactive rather than reactive interaction. You can anticipate emotional responses and adjust communication strategies accordingly. Your ability to perceive subtly influences personal, social, and professional relationships. Intuition complements observation. The subconscious mind recognizes patterns based on experience, often before the conscious mind does. Paying attention to gut feelings and instinctive reactions enhances understanding. Intuition, combined with careful observation, increases accuracy in perceiving intentions and emotions. Continuous learning is essential. Observe people in different settings, cultures, and situations. Notice gestures, expressions, posture, and tone. Compare patterns and refine interpretation. Over time, observation and reflection become instinctive, allowing you to understand anyone quickly and accurately. Patience and practice are key. True understanding does not come instantly. It develops through repeated exposure, reflection, and application. Each interaction provides new information. Gradually, your perceptual skills improve, and your brain begins to recognize patterns automatically. The more you practice, the more natural reading people becomes. The power of perception lies in its practical application. Observing accurately allows you to respond appropriately, adjust your behavior, and communicate effectively. You can adapt your tone, gestures, and approach based on observed signals. Perception is not passive. It guides meaningful interaction and fosters connection. Perception combined with empathy and reflection leads to mastery. Accurate perception enables understanding, connection, and influence. Awareness of context, attention to detail, recognition of patterns, and empathy collectively improve your ability to interpret human behavior. Over time, your ability to understand anyone becomes intuitive, reliable, and transformative. Ultimately, perception is a skill that can be trained and improved. With awareness, attention, observation, listening, empathy, and reflection, you gain the ability to understand anyone instantly. Practice daily, observe consciously, listen actively, and reflect regularly. Gradually, your subconscious mind will notice patterns naturally, and your ability to read others accurately will become instinctive. This chapter has laid the foundation for understanding the power of perception. By becoming aware of your biases, observing gestures, posture, facial expressions, and tone, and integrating empathy, attention, and reflection, you begin to understand anyone more deeply. In the following chapters, you will learn to read unspoken signals, decode words, interpret emotions, and connect with others on a profound level. Perception is the first step toward mastery in understanding anyone. Chapter 2. Reading the unspoken language. Communication goes far beyond words. Most of what humans convey is expressed through gestures, posture, facial expressions, and tone. Learning to read these signals allows you to understand people deeply and connect instantly. Observation of unspoken language is a skill that can be practiced, refined, and mastered. Body language is the foundation of unspoken communication. Posture communicates confidence, openness, defensiveness, or discomfort. Standing upright with relaxed shoulders conveys assurance, while slouching or crossing arms may indicate unease. The way a person holds their body often reflects their internal emotional state. Small movements, shifts in weight, and overall stance reveal more than words ever can. Facial expressions are powerful indicators of emotion. A slight smile, a furrowed brow, or a tightened jaw communicates feelings that words may hide. Micro-expressions appear briefly and involuntarily, giving away true emotions. Subtle expressions in the eyes, lips, or forehead provide clues about thoughts and feelings. People rarely control every aspect of their facial expressions, making them a reliable source of information. Eye contact conveys more than most realize. Direct gaze shows engagement, confidence, or honesty. Avoiding eye contact may indicate discomfort, nervousness, or concealment. Rapid blinking often reveals stress or excitement. Pupil dilation and small shifts in gaze also provide information about a person's emotional state. Observing eyes closely allows you to interpret the unspoken emotions beneath the surface. Hand gestures complement verbal and non-verbal messages. Open hands communicate receptivity, honesty, and openness. Fist clenching or tapping fingers may indicate tension, impatience, or frustration. Standing too close may feel aggressive or intimate, while keeping distance may signal caution or disinterest. Observing how someone positions themselves in relation to others gives insight into their emotional state and level of engagement. Tone of voice carries unspoken meaning. Volume, pitch, speed, and rhythm reveal mood, urgency, or confidence. A calm, steady tone communicates reassurance, while a shaky or high-pitched voice may indicate anxiety. Subtle emphasis on words highlights priorities and emotions. Listening carefully to tone provides a deeper understanding of meaning beyond spoken language. Mirroring is an important signal of connection. When someone subconsciously mimics your gestures, posture, or speech patterns, it often indicates comfort and rapport. Recognizing mirroring behaviors helps you identify when mutual understanding exists. Similarly, noticing a lack of mirroring or dissonance can indicate discomfort or tension in interaction. Clusters of signals are more reliable than individual gestures. A single gesture may be ambiguous, but a combination of body movements, expressions, and tone creates a consistent message. For example, crossed arms, tense shoulders, averted gaze, and a shallow voice consistently indicate discomfort or resistance. Observing clusters of behaviors improves accuracy in understanding unspoken communication. Context shapes unspoken language. A gesture or posture may mean different things in different environments or cultures. Cultural norms, social expectations, and environmental cues all influence body language. Start by focusing on one type of signal, such as eye movement or hand gestures, and expand to integrate multiple cues over time. Breathing patterns, muscle tension, and slight changes in movement communicate emotional states. Rapid breathing or shallow breaths may indicate stress, excitement, or anxiety. Relaxed breathing signals calmness. Muscle tension, whether in the shoulders, neck, or hands, reflects internal states. These physical signals provide an additional layer of understanding that complements facial expressions and gestures. Empathy enhances interpretation of unspoken language. Imagining yourself in another person's situation helps you understand their gestures and expressions. Empathy allows you to interpret signals accurately and respond appropriately. Without empathy, observation risks being mechanical or superficial. Practicing empathy alongside observation strengthens perception and connection. Personality affects how unspoken language is expressed. Some people are naturally expressive while others are reserved. Reserved individuals may show subtle or infrequent gestures, while expressive individuals display emotions openly. Understanding these differences is essential for accurate interpretation. Adjust your observation based on personality to avoid misreading behavior. Observation improves with consistent practice. Start by focusing on one person, noticing posture, facial expressions, hand movements, and tone. Observe patterns over multiple interactions. Expand to different settings, groups, and cultures. With repetition, your brain begins to recognize patterns instinctively, improving speed and accuracy in reading unspoken signals. Intent is often revealed through nonverbal behavior. Approach or avoidance, shifts in orientation, and physical alignment indicate interest or disinterest. A person leaning forward signals engagement, while leaning back may indicate detachment or caution. Recognizing intent helps you respond proactively, improving interaction quality and trust. Mirroring can be used to enhance connection. Subtly reflecting gestures, posture, or tone builds rapport and comfort. People naturally respond positively when they feel understood and mirrored. Subtlety is key to avoid seeming insincere or mechanical. Observing when mirroring occurs naturally helps you align with others without conscious effort. Observation of micro-behaviors allows prediction of responses. Shifts in weight, facial twitches, and subtle movements indicate readiness to act, withdraw, or respond emotionally. Recognizing these signals gives you an advantage in anticipating behavior and improving communication. The ability to predict intentions adds depth to understanding human behavior. Practice in real-life scenarios enhances mastery. Observe friends, family, colleagues, and strangers. Note repeated gestures, expressions, and tone. Compare patterns across different contexts and personalities. Reflect on observations and refine interpretation. Gradually, the mind recognizes patterns automatically, improving perceptual skill and intuitive understanding. The universality of nonverbal communication strengthens its power. Across cultures, posture, facial expressions, gestures, and tone convey emotion and intent consistently. Awareness of these signals allows immediate understanding and more effective connection. Observing consistently and without judgment improves skill over time. Reading unspoken language strengthens relationships. Recognizing emotions, intentions, and needs before they are expressed enables proactive interaction. People feel valued, understood, and safe when their unspoken cues are noticed and responded to appropriately. Perception becomes a tool for empathy, trust, and influence. Continuous observation improves social intelligence. Learning to notice posture, gestures, tone, facial micro-expressions, and breathing patterns enhances awareness. Practice daily to refine perception, and gradually recognizing unspoken signals becomes instinctive. Awareness combined with empathy, attention, and reflection allows instant understanding of people. Patience and practice are essential. Accurate understanding does not happen instant. Multiple observations over time allow you to notice patterns and avoid misinterpretation. Each interaction is a learning opportunity. Gradually, the skill of reading unspoken language becomes automatic, enhancing personal and professional relationships. The integration of unspoken signals with active listening, perception, and reflection creates mastery. Observation, empathy, and attention provide a complete understanding of others' thoughts and emotions. Practicing these skills consistently builds intuitive recognition of human behavior, allowing instant understanding of anyone. This chapter has provided the foundation for reading unspoken language. Observation of body language, facial expressions, gestures, eye contact, tone, posture, and micro-behaviors, combined with empathy, context, and patience, gives you the ability to understand people beyond words. The next chapters will expand on decoding speech, interpreting emotions, understanding personality, and building deep human connection through combined verbal and nonverbal cues. Chapter 3. The hidden messages behind words. Words are only part of human communication. What people say often carries more meaning in how it is said than in the words themselves. Hidden messages are embedded in tone, phrasing, emphasis, and context. Understanding these messages allows you to perceive intention, emotion, and truth beyond literal meaning. Every conversation carries multiple layers of communication, some overt and others subtle. Learning to interpret hidden messages transforms your ability to understand anyone instantly. Tone of voice communicates emotion and intent, even when words seem neutral. Listening closely to tone allows you to detect underlying feelings that may contradict spoken words. Phrasing reveals thought patterns and priorities. The way people structure sentences indicates focus and perspective. Repeated use of certain words or expressions shows what matters most to the speaker. For example, frequent use of "I think" or "I feel" suggests personal reflection or uncertainty. Observing patterns in speech helps you understand personality, priorities, and hidden intent. Silence is as meaningful as speech. Pauses, hesitations, and gaps in conversation reveal thought, doubt, or emotional tension. People often pause before revealing sensitive information or making decisions. Silence may indicate discomfort, reflection, or strategic thinking. Paying attention to when and how long someone pauses provides insight into their mindset. Choice of words reflects beliefs and values. People express identity, priorities, and worldview through language. Word choice reveals attitude towards self, others, and the world. Repeated words indicate recurring thoughts and concerns. Listening for patterns in vocabulary uncovers subconscious beliefs and emotional states. Awareness of these patterns helps you interpret hidden meaning. Emphasis signals importance. Stressing a word, phrase, or syllable highlights what a person values or feels strongly about. Emphasis often reveals truth that is not consciously stated. Observing emphasis allows you to detect unspoken priorities and intentions, providing a clearer understanding of the speaker's mind's context shapes interpretation of words. The same phrase may carry different meaning depending on environment, culture, relationship, or situation. Understanding context prevents misinterpretation and enhances accuracy. Pay attention to social cues, tone, timing, and history to correctly interpret meaning. Contextual awareness ensures you understand not just the words, but the intention behind them. Nonverbal communication complements speech. Gestures, posture, eye contact, and facial expressions reinforce or contradict spoken words. When words and body language align, the message is clear. When they conflict, the body often reveals the truth. Observing non-verbal signals alongside verbal communication provides a complete picture of meaning. Metaphors and analogies often reveal hidden thought processes. People use figurative language to express abstract ideas, emotions, and personal perspectives. Understanding the metaphors a person uses provides insight into their values, beliefs, and internal experiences. Pay attention to repeated figurative expressions to uncover patterns in thinking and perception. Questions reveal curiosity, concern, and intention. The type of questions people ask indicates focus and priorities. Open-ended questions invite sharing, while closed questions seek specific answers. Observing the nature of questioning provides insight into what the person wants to know, understand, or influence. Contradictions between words and behavior signal hidden messages. People often attempt to control verbal communication, but nonverbal cues may reveal true emotion. A person saying one thing while exhibiting tension, avoidance, or inconsistency indicates incongruence. Recognizing contradictions allows you to perceive hidden truths. Listening actively requires full attention. Focus on every word, tone, pause, and pattern. Avoid interrupting or assuming meaning too quickly. Active listening allows you to notice subtle indicators of hidden intent, emotion, or thought. Combine listening with observation to interpret both verbal and non-verbal messages accurately. Patterns in speech indicate personality and thought habits. Repeated phrases, sentence structures, and tones reveal cognitive style and emotional tendencies. People often unconsciously use similar patterns across different conversations. Observing these patterns provides insight into consistent behaviors, priorities, and feelings. Subtext is the meaning beneath the surface of words. People rarely say exactly what they mean, especially regarding sensitive topics or emotions. Detecting subtext involves attention to tone, phrasing, emphasis, and nonverbal cues. Understanding subtext allows you to comprehend intention, emotion, and thought that is not explicitly stated. Cultural and social norms influence language. People communicate differently based on upbringing, cultural context, and social environment. Awareness of these influences prevents misinterpretation and enhances understanding. What may appear evasive or indirect in one culture may be polite and respectful in another. Considering cultural context ensures accurate interpretation of hidden messages. Listening for emotional cues enhances perception. Words often carry emotion that is expressed subtly through tone, phrasing, and emphasis. Detecting emotional content allows you to understand feelings, priorities, and reactions that are not directly stated. Awareness of emotion provides depth to interpretation and strengthens connection. Intonation reveals attitude and intent. Rising, falling, or flat intonation patterns indicate confidence, questioning, sarcasm, uncertainty, or enthusiasm. Observing how intonation changes across sentences allows insight into true feelings and hidden meaning. Combined with context and non-verbal signals, intonation gives a complete understanding of communication. Repetition is revealing. People repeat important ideas, concerns, or beliefs, either consciously or unconsciously. Repetition highlights what a person finds significant or emotionally charged. Observing repeated words, phrases, or ideas provides insight into hidden priorities and internal focus. Listening to contradictions enhances perception. Pay attention to words that contradict nonverbal signals or previously stated ideas. Contradictions highlight areas of tension, uncertainty, or unspoken truth. Recognizing these inconsistencies allows you to perceive hidden meaning and approach interactions with clarity. Questions and clarifications reveal underlying intentions. When someone seeks clarification or asks probing questions, they signal curiosity, doubt, or interest. Observing how questions are phrased, what is asked, and how they are delivered provides insight into priorities and hidden thoughts. Subtle cues in speech provide information about energy, focus, and mood. Volume, pace, clarity, and articulation convey emotional state and cognitive focus. Rapid speech may indicate excitement or stress, while slow, deliberate speech suggests thoughtfulness or caution. Observing these cues gives additional understanding of the person's internal state. Active reflection enhances interpretation. After listening to someone, reflect on the words, tone, pauses, and nonverbal cues. Consider context, patterns, and emotional indicators. Reflection helps consolidate understanding and improves perceptual accuracy for future interactions. Empathy strengthens interpretation of hidden messages. By imagining yourself in the speaker's position, you interpret signals with understanding rather than judgment. Empathy allows you to detect subtle emotional or cognitive cues, providing a more accurate picture of their thoughts and feelings. Observation improves with practice. Listen to different people in various contexts. Notice phrasing, tone, emphasis, pauses, and repeated patterns. Compare signals across different situations to refine interpretation. With consistent practice, detecting hidden messages becomes instinctive and fast. The ability to read hidden messages increases social intelligence. Understanding intention, emotion, and priorities allows proactive responses. You can adjust your communication to build trust, resolve conflict, and foster connection. Perception becomes a tool for influence and understanding. Listening, observation, and reflection combine to create mastery. Tone, phrasing, emphasis, pauses, subtext, repetition, and nonverbal signals carry hidden messages. Learning to interpret these cues enhances understanding of intention, emotion, and thought. Combined with observation, empathy, and context, hidden messages provide the key to understanding anyone instantly. The next chapters will expand on decoding personality, emotional states, and patterns of thought to deepen your ability to connect and understand effectively. Chapter 4. Decoding personality and behavioral patterns. Understanding someone goes beyond reading words or gestures. Personality and behavior reveal patterns that guide interactions and communication. By observing, reflecting, and analyzing patterns, you can predict actions, understand motives, and connect more deeply. Decoding personality requires patience, attention, and consistent practice. Every individual displays unique traits that shape how they respond to situations, express emotion, and communicate. Personality influences perception, decision-making, and behavior. People have stable traits that appear consistently across time and situations, Some are outgoing and expressive, while others are reserved and reflective. Understanding these traits allows you to interpret behavior accurately and respond appropriately. Recognizing whether someone is introverted, extroverted, analytical, or empathetic informs how you approach communication. Behavioral patterns emerge through repeated actions. People develop routines, habits, and reactions that reveal underlying beliefs and preferences. Observing how someone reacts to stress, conflict, or success provides insight into their character. Patterns are more reliable than single actions. A person may act differently in one instance, but consistent responses reveal core personality traits. Attention to small details enhances understanding. Subtle behaviors such as hand gestures, posture shifts, facial expressions, and speech patterns reflect personality. An expressive person may use animated gestures and varied tone, while a reserved individual may exhibit minimal movement and a steady voice. Noticing these distinctions improves your ability to decode personality accurately. Consistency across situations indicates authenticity. Genuine traits appear in various contexts. For example, a person who is patient and thoughtful at work will often display similar traits in social settings. Inconsistencies may indicate stress, discomfort, or attempts to adapt behavior to expectations. Observing how traits persist or vary allows you to distinguish between authentic personality and situational adaptation. Emotional responses reveal underlying tendencies. How someone expresses anger, joy, sadness, or excitement provides clues about temperament and coping mechanisms. Some individuals regulate emotions effectively, while others display immediate, intense reactions. Recognizing emotional patterns allows you to anticipate behavior and respond empathetically. Speech patterns reflect personality and thought processes. Choice of words, sentence structure, pacing, and tone indicate cognitive style and emotional tendencies. Analytical individuals often speak carefully, with structured sentences and logical sequencing. Expressive individuals may use vivid language, frequent gestures, and emotional emphasis. Observing speech provides insight into thinking style, priorities, and personality. Behavior under stress is particularly revealing. Stress triggers habitual responses, often exposing authentic tendencies. Some people withdraw or become quiet, while others react impulsively or assertively. Stress tests character and reveals coping strategies. Observing reactions to pressure or unexpected situations uncovers hidden aspects of personality. Observation of habits informs understanding of values and priorities. Daily routines, interaction patterns, and decision-making reveal what a person finds important. Someone who consistently helps others may value empathy and cooperation. Observing habits over time provides reliable insight into core beliefs and motivations. Patterns in social interactions are informative. How someone interacts with friends, family, colleagues, or strangers shows social preferences, emotional intelligence, and interpersonal skills. Consistent behavior across relationships indicates stable personality traits. Variations may highlight adaptability, selective engagement, or situational responses. Nonverbal behavior complements observable patterns. Posture, facial expression, gestures, and movement reveal emotional states and personality traits. An expressive person may use varied gestures, facial expressions, and tone, while a reserved individual exhibits minimal movement. Observing nonverbal behavior alongside actions provides a more complete understanding. Consistency and deviation both provide insight. Regular patterns reveal stable traits, while deviations indicate flexibility, stress response, or hidden emotion. Observing both helps build a nuanced understanding of personality. Recognizing when someone acts out of character allows you to respond appropriate. Empathy is critical for decoding personality. Imagining yourself in someone's experience allows accurate interpretation of behavior, emotional responses, and motives. Empathy removes bias and enhances observation. It enables understanding beyond superficial actions, uncovering the internal thought and feeling that drives behavior. Patterns of thought emerge through communication and action. People repeat ideas, priorities, and beliefs in words and behaviors. What appears unusual in one context may be typical in another. Awareness of context ensures a balanced understanding of behavior and personality. Predicting behavior improves with observation. Recognizing personality traits and behavioral patterns allows anticipation of reactions and intention. Predictive observation enables proactive communication, reduces conflict, and fosters trust. Observing long-term patterns strengthens intuition about likely responses in various situations. Emotional intelligence enhances interpretation of personality. Understanding how someone experiences, expresses, and manages emotions improves perception. Emotional intelligence allows accurate reading of cues, anticipation of needs, and appropriate response. Combining emotional awareness with behavior observation creates a powerful tool for understanding others. Reflection strengthens insight. After observing behavior and interactions, reflect on patterns, consistency, and context. Consider motives, emotional triggers, and situational influences. Reflection consolidates perception and improves accuracy in future interaction. Gradually, the mind internalizes these observations, enhancing intuitive understanding. Observation of micro-behaviors adds depth. Small gestures, brief expressions, subtle movements, and fleeting reactions reveal personality traits. While large actions convey obvious behavior, micro-behaviors often disclose hidden tendencies and authentic emotion. Paying attention to these small details deepens understanding. Personality traits influence decision-making. How someone treats others, handles conflict, and communicates consistently shows core personality. Inconsistencies may reveal stress, adaptation, or situational influences. Observation, over time, is essential to distinguish authentic traits from temporary adaptations. Empathy and observation together reveal hidden motivations. Understanding why someone acts a certain way allows interpretation of behavior beyond surface-level actions. Motivations drive consistent patterns. Awareness of motives, combined with observed patterns, provides a deep understanding of personality. Practice in various contexts refines skill. Observe people in different social, professional, and cultural environments. Notice repeated actions, gestures, tone, and verbal patterns. Compare behaviors across situations to identify core traits and adaptability. With experience, recognition of personality and behavior becomes instinctive. Behavioral patterns predict interaction style. Knowing how a person responds to stress, praise, conflict, or cooperation informs communication strategy. Observing these patterns reduces misunderstanding and enables effective influence. Awareness of behavioral tendencies strengthens relationships and trust. Combining observation, empathy, reflection, and pattern recognition creates mastery. You begin to intuitively understand motives, personality traits, and likely behavior. This skill allows instant understanding of others and informs how you approach conversation, negotiation, and connection. This chapter has laid the foundation for decoding personality and behavioral patterns. By observing consistent traits, analyzing patterns, considering context, and applying empathy, you develop a deep understanding of human behavior. The next chapters will build on this foundation, exploring emotional intelligence, motivation, and the subtle cues that reveal thought and intention. Chapter 5. Understanding emotional signals and intentions. Emotions are the driving force behind human behavior. They influence decisions, communication, and actions in subtle and overt ways. Understanding emotional signals allows you to perceive intentions, predict behavior, and connect deeply. Emotions are often communicated non-verbally through gestures, posture, tone, and facial expressions. By recognizing these signals, you can interpret what people feel and why they act in certain ways. Facial expressions are the most direct window into emotion. Happiness is expressed through smiles, relaxed eyes, and smooth facial movements. Sadness may be shown with downward gaze, slight frowning, or a tense mouth. Anger can be detected through tight jaws, furrowed brows, and narrowed eyes. Subtle micro-expressions often reveal emotion before the conscious mind acknowledges it. Observing micro-expressions allows early recognition of feelings, providing insight into intentions. Posture communicates emotional state. Upright, open posture suggests confidence, relaxation, and openness. Slouched, closed, or tense posture indicates discomfort, insecurity, or defensiveness. Shifts in posture during conversation reveal reaction to content or emotion. Leaning forward may show interest, engagement, or agreement, while leaning back can indicate withdrawal, hesitation, or disagreement. Recognizing these signals enhances interpretation of emotional states. Gestures provide additional clues. Open palms indicate receptiveness and honesty, while crossed arms may signal resistance or discomfort. Fidgeting, tapping, or repeated movements suggest nervousness, impatience, or stress. Subtle hand movements such as touching the face or hair can indicate self-consciousness or hesitation. By observing gestures in combination with other cues, you gain a clearer understanding of emotional intent. Eye contact reveals more than attention. Direct gaze often signifies confidence and engagement. Avoiding gaze can indicate discomfort, dishonesty, or insecurity. Rapid blinking suggests stress or excitement, while slow, deliberate eye movement indicates thoughtfulness. Pupil dilation and eye focus offer additional insight into emotional intensity. Careful observation of eye behavior allows deeper understanding of intention and feeling. Tone of voice carries emotional information. Volume, pitch, speed, and rhythm reflect mood and internal state. Calm, steady tones suggest confidence and control, while shaky or high-pitched tones reveal nervousness or excitement. Emphasis on particular words highlights priorities, feelings, or hidden concerns. Listening to tone alongside observation of gestures and facial expressions allows interpretation of complex emotional signals. Context provides meaning. The same expression, gesture, or tone can signify different emotions depending on situation, culture, and environment. Cultural norms shape expression, and understanding context prevents misinterpretation. For instance, some cultures value subtle emotional expression, while others encourage overt display. Awareness of context allows accurate decoding of emotional signals and intent. Behavior under stress is revealing. Stress often amplifies emotional signals, making patterns easier to detect. People may display unconscious gestures, facial expressions, or tone variations when anxious, frustrated, or excited. Recognizing these amplified signals enables you to interpret true feelings and anticipate behavior under pressure. Clusters of signals improve accuracy. A single gesture may be ambiguous, but combined with posture, facial expression, tone, and context, it becomes clearer. For example, crossed arms, tightened jaw, and narrowed eyes consistently indicate defensiveness or disagreement. Observing clusters rather than isolated cues ensures reliable interpretation. Empathy enhances understanding of emotional signals. Imagining oneself in another's situation provides perspective on their feelings and reactions. Empathy removes personal bias and improves observation. When you consider why someone feels a certain way, interpretation becomes more accurate and compassionate. Patterns in emotional expression reveal consistent tendencies. Some individuals react quickly and intensely to stimuli, while others remain calm and measured. Observing long-term patterns in reaction to stress, praise, conflict, or success informs understanding of emotional style and predictability. Recognizing these patterns allows you to anticipate reactions and respond effectively. Silence is meaningful. Pauses, hesitations, and moments of quiet convey thought, uncertainty, or emotional processing. Silence often precedes important disclosures, decisions, or emotional expression. Observing when and how long someone pauses provides insight into thought process and intention. Intent is closely tied to emotional signals. Emotional state influences motivation, decision-making, and communication. A person who displays enthusiasm, engagement, and openness is likely motivated to cooperate or share information. Conversely, signals of frustration, withdrawal, or defensiveness indicate resistance, hesitation, or hidden objectives. Recognizing intent allows proactive response and effective communication. Listening actively supports emotional interpretation. Focus on tone, emphasis, pauses, and pacing, alongside observation of gestures and facial expression. Words alone rarely reveal the full picture. Integrated listening and observation provide a comprehensive understanding of emotional state and intention. Subtle emotional signals often contradict words. People attempt to regulate verbal communication, but non-verbal cues reveal authentic feelings. For example, a calm voice may hide frustration expressed through clenched fists, tight jaw, or rigid posture. Detecting these contradictions provides insight into hidden emotion and true intention. Emotional intelligence allows you to detect subtle cues, anticipate reactions, and respond appropriately. Combining emotional intelligence with observation builds accurate understanding of hidden feelings and intentions. Reflection consolidates observation. After interactions, think about gestures, tone, expressions, and context. Consider what signals revealed about emotion, intent, and personality. Reflection enhances accuracy of future interpretations and improves instinctive recognition of patterns. Regular reflection reinforces learning and strengthens perceptual skill. Behavioral adaptation indicates emotion. How people modify posture, gesture, or tone in response to others signals emotional state and intent. Observing adaptation provides clues about social comfort, trust, or resistance. Understanding these adjustments enhances interpretation and improves communication. Empathy reinforces interpretation. Imagining how someone feels, why they react, and what drives their behavior adds depth to observation. Empathy allows you to connect emotionally and interpret signals more accurately. Combining empathy with observation of gestures, posture, tone, and facial expression provides a holistic understanding of emotion. Predicting responses improves with observation. Recognizing patterns in emotional signals, gestures, tone, and context allows anticipation of behavior. Predictive observation helps manage interactions, reduce conflict, and enhance influence. Awareness of consistent tendencies strengthens interpersonal effectiveness. Practice across contexts strengthens skill. Observe friends, family, colleagues, and strangers in different settings. Note reactions to stress, conversation, collaboration, or disagreement. Compare behaviors across contexts to identify emotional patterns and stability. Repeated practice enables instinctive recognition of emotional signals and intent. Integration of observation, reflection, empathy, and pattern recognition produces mastery. Combining awareness of gestures, facial expression, tone, posture, and context with understanding of personality and patterns allows accurate interpretation of emotion and intention. Consistent practice develops instinctive perception of human behavior. This chapter has explained the critical role of emotional signals and intentions in understanding people. Observing facial expressions, gestures, posture, tone, and clusters of behavior, combined with empathy, reflection, and context, provides insight into what people feel and intend. Recognizing hidden emotion improves prediction, communication, and connection. Subsequent chapters will explore how to interpret motivations, anticipate behavior, and integrate personality, emotion, and intention for deeper understanding. Chapter 6. Interpreting motivations and predicting behavior. Understanding motivation is essential for predicting behavior and connecting with people effectively. Motivation drives decision-making, emotional responses, and actions. By observing patterns, cues, and context, you can interpret what inspires or discourages someone. Recognizing motivation allows you to anticipate behavior and respond with clarity. Behavior is rarely random. Most actions are guided by goals, desires, fears, or values. People act to fulfill needs, achieve objectives, or avoid discomfort. By identifying these underlying drivers, you can interpret actions accurately. Observing repeated patterns in behavior provides insight into consistent motivations. Intrinsic and extrinsic motivation influence behavior differently. Intrinsic motivation arises from personal satisfaction, interest, or enjoyment. People driven by intrinsic factors act out of curiosity, passion, or a sense of purpose. Extrinsic motivation comes from external rewards, recognition, or pressure. Understanding whether someone is internally or externally motivated informs how they approach tasks and relationships. Observation reveals subtle motivational cues. Facial expressions, gestures, tone of voice, and posture indicate enthusiasm, hesitation, or reluctance. Microexpressions and small shifts often reveal the intensity of motivation. A person leaning forward and maintaining eye contact demonstrates engagement, while crossed arms and averted gaze may indicate resistance or lack of interest. Patterns of decision-making provide clues. How someone prioritizes tasks, chooses actions, or handles challenges reflects underlying motivation. Consistency across situations reveals stable drives. Deviations may indicate situational influence or temporary emotional states. Observing long-term patterns allows accurate prediction of behavior. Emotional responses indicate motivation. Excitement, frustration, joy, or anxiety often accompany actions linked to desires or fears. Emotional intensity reflects the strength of motivation. By observing emotions in response to events or stimuli, you can gauge priorities and probable actions. Language provides insight into motivation. Choice of words, phrasing, and emphasis reveal what matters to someone. Repeated references to goals, values, or concerns highlight priorities. Tone and intensity amplify meaning, providing further clues about emotional investment. Analyzing speech patterns helps identify hidden motivations and anticipated behavior. Nonverbal behavior complements verbal signals. Posture, gestures, and facial expressions reinforce or contradict spoken words. Alignment between verbal and nonverbal cues strengthens interpretation. Contradictions suggest hidden motives, unspoken concerns, or internal conflict. Observing both aspects allows a more complete understanding of motivation. Context shapes behavior and motivation. Cultural background, social norms, and situational pressures influence choices and actions. Understanding context prevents misinterpretation. Actions that seem unusual in one environment may be typical in another. Awareness of context is critical to accurately decode motivation and predict behavior. Behavior under stress reveals core motivation. Stress often amplifies habitual responses and reveals authentic drives. People may act defensively, withdraw, or assert control when stressed. Observing reactions in challenging situations highlights priorities, fears, and coping strategies. Recognizing stress patterns allows prediction of future responses. Intent can be inferred from consistent, repeated actions aligned with expressed goals indicate genuine motivation. Inconsistencies suggest hidden objectives, uncertainty, or adaptive behavior. Observing alignment between intention and action allows accurate assessment of motivation. Empathy enhances interpretation of motive. Imagining yourself in another's perspective allows understanding of why someone behaves a certain way. Empathy helps recognize subtle cues and emotional drive. Considering the internal experience behind actions strengthens predictive accuracy. Observation improves with practice. Watch behavior across multiple interactions and contexts. Note patterns in decision-making, emotional response, and social interaction. Compare reactions across situations to discern consistent motivational drivers. Practice sharpens instinctive recognition of intentions and likely actions. Predicting behavior relies on integrating multiple cues. Observing emotional signals, body language, verbal emphasis, and context allows anticipation of responses. Combining these elements creates a holistic understanding of motivation and intention. Accurate prediction requires patience, attention, and continuous observation. Micro-behaviors often reveal hidden intentions. Small gestures, facial twitches, shifts in posture, and brief expressions provide insight into underlying drives. While overt behavior may be controlled, micro-behaviors are more difficult to regulate. Attention to subtle cues enhances interpretation and predictive skill. Patterns of reinforcement reveal priorities. Observing how someone responds to rewards, recognition, or consequences highlights what motivates them. Positive reinforcement strengthens certain behaviors, while negative consequences discourage others. Tracking these patterns provides insight into long-term motivation and probable future behavior. Conflict responses illustrate motivation. How people handle disagreement, negotiation, or challenge shows their priorities and drives. Some respond defensively, others strategically, and some collaboratively. Observing conflict resolution style reveals underlying values and intent. Recognizing patterns allows anticipation of responses in future interactions. Active reflection consolidates observation. After observing behavior, consider emotional signals, verbal emphasis, gestures, and context. Reflect on motives, priorities, and probable actions. Reflection improves interpretation and strengthens instinctive understanding over time. Behavioral adaptation signals social motivation. How people adjust gestures, tone, or language in response to others indicates social awareness, trust, or strategic behavior. Observing adaptation provides clues about relational intent and priorities. Awareness of social adjustment enhances prediction and connection. Empathy combined with observation strengthens predictive accuracy. Imagining internal experience alongside noticing external cues allows a deep understanding of motive and likely action. Recognizing emotional drivers, values, and priorities allows accurate forecasting of behavior. Motivation is linked to goals. Understanding short-term and long-term objectives provides context for action. People prioritize behaviors based on importance and alignment with goals. Observing decision-making and action patterns reveals underlying priorities and intentions. Consistency improves predictability. Repeated patterns across time indicate stable motivation. Inconsistencies may reflect situational factors, emotional fluctuations, or external influence. Observing long-term behavior allows accurate forecasting and understanding of tendencies. Integration of cues creates mastery. Combining observation of gestures, facial expression, tone, emotional signals, verbal emphasis, context, and patterns enables accurate interpretation of motivation. Continuous practice strengthens instinctive perception and improves ability to predict behavior. This chapter has shown how to interpret motivation and predict behavior. Observing emotional signals, non-verbal cues, verbal emphasis, patterns, and context allows understanding of underlying drives. Combining empathy, reflection, and consistent practice builds the ability to anticipate responses and connect effectively. Subsequent chapters will explore strategies for applying this understanding to influence, communication, and relationship building. Chapter 7. Strategies for instant connection and influence. Connection is the foundation of influence. People respond positively to those they feel understood and valued by. Building instant connection requires attention to verbal and non-verbal cues, empathy and communication strategies. Influence grows naturally from trust, rapport, and genuine understanding. Active listening is critical. Fully focusing on what someone says conveys respect and interest. Listening involves more than hearing words. Tone, pacing, emotion, and pauses all carry meaning. Observing these cues while avoiding judgment allows understanding of thoughts and feelings. Responding appropriately reinforces connection and shows empathy. Mirroring creates subconscious rapport. Subtle imitation of posture, gestures, tone, and expressions makes people feel understood. Mirroring should be natural and unobtrusive. When done correctly, it fosters comfort and builds trust. People respond positively to those who reflect their behavior, increasing openness and receptivity. Empathy strengthens influence. Imagining yourself in the other person's situation allows accurate interpretation of emotion, intention, and motivation. Empathy enables connection on a deeper level, creating a sense of understanding. When people feel understood, they are more likely to listen, cooperate, and engage positively. Nonverbal communication enhances connection. Eye contact, facial expression, gestures, and posture convey interest and sincerity. Open posture, relaxed gestures, and attentive eye contact communicate engagement. Nonverbal alignment with verbal communication increases credibility and trust. Observing and adjusting nonverbal behavior improves interpersonal influence. Language shapes perception. Choice of words, tone, and phrasing affects how messages are received. Positive, inclusive language encourages engagement and reduces defensiveness. Clear articulation, moderate pace, and emphasis on key points reinforce understanding. Adapting language to match the listener's style strengthens rapport and influence. Asking thoughtful questions encourages dialogue. Open-ended questions invite sharing, while focused questions reveal priorities and concerns. Active questioning demonstrates interest and fosters connection. Listening to responses provides additional insight into motivations and thought patterns, allowing tailored communication. Validation and acknowledgement build trust. Recognizing feelings, thoughts, and contributions conveys respect. Simple acknowledgement of ideas or emotions reinforces connection and encourages openness. Validation does not require agreement, only recognition of perspective. People respond positively when they feel heard and understood. Consistency and authenticity create credibility. Aligning words, actions, and nonverbal signals establishes trust. Authentic behavior reinforces connection and influence. Inconsistencies between verbal and nonverbal communication reduce trust and hinder rapport. People sense authenticity and are more receptive to genuine communication. Understanding personality enhances connection. Tailoring communication based on personality traits, emotional style, and cognitive patterns improves influence. Analytical individuals appreciate structured information and logical reasoning. Expressive individuals respond to enthusiasm, narrative, and emotional engagement. Observing personality cues allows effective adaptation of approach. Timing impacts influence. Delivering messages when the listener is receptive increases effectiveness. Observing emotional state, context, and energy allows optimal timing. Rushed, poorly timed, or emotionally mismatched communication reduces impact. Attentive timing enhances connection and strengthens influence. Energy and presence are powerful. Engaged, focused, and confident presence draws attention and encourages responsiveness. Energy conveys interest and credibility. Mindful awareness of body language, tone, and focus reinforces perception of engagement. Presence amplifies connection and impact of communication. Storytelling fosters connection. Sharing experiences, examples, or narratives resonates emotionally and intellectually. Stories create relatability and memorable messaging. Effective storytelling incorporates emotion, detail, and relevance, enhancing understanding and influencing perspective. People connect more deeply through stories than through abstract statements alone. Subtle influence comes from observation. Noticing preferences, priorities, and emotional state allows adaptation of communication style. Adjusting tone, phrasing, and approach based on observed signals improves receptivity. Influence arises naturally when communication aligns with listener needs and tendencies. Emotional attunement is essential. Aligning with another's emotional state demonstrates empathy and understanding. Matching intensity, pacing, and mood facilitates rapport. Over time, emotional attunement enhances trust, deepens connection, and increases ability to influence. Feedback reinforces connection. Positive reinforcement of desired behavior, acknowledgement of contributions, and constructive response strengthens engagement. Providing feedback with empathy ensures receptivity and promotes collaboration. Thoughtful feedback reinforces trust and enhances influence. Conflict management strengthens connection when handled appropriately. Addressing disagreements with respect, understanding, and active listening preserves rapport. Avoiding judgment and focusing on mutual understanding fosters resolution. Constructive handling of conflict demonstrates credibility, empathy, and reliability, enhancing influence. Nonverbal cues predict receptivity. Eye contact, posture, and gestures indicate engagement or resistance. Observing subtle cues allows adjustment of approach to maintain connection. Flexible adaptation based on observation ensures effective communication and strengthens rapport. Observation of clusters enhances accuracy. A single gesture or expression may be ambiguous. Combined signals from tone, posture, facial expression, and speech clarify emotion and intent. Observing multiple cues allows accurate interpretation, facilitating effective connection and influence. Empathy and observation combine to create intuitive understanding. Predicting needs, intentions, and emotional state enables proactive communication. Anticipating reactions allows smooth interaction and fosters mutual respect. People respond positively to those who understand and anticipate them. Adaptation strengthens connection. Adjusting language, tone, and behavior based on observed response increases rapport. Flexibility in communication style demonstrates attentiveness and enhancing influence. People naturally respond to those who align with their perspective while remaining authentic. Trust develops through consistency and reliability. Consistent alignment of words, actions, and attention builds credibility. Reliability fosters openness and willingness to cooperate. Influence grows when people trust intentions and competence. Trust forms the foundation for deeper connection and sustainable impact. Observation refines skill over time. Practicing awareness of gestures, tone, posture, expression, and language in varied contexts enhances recognition and interpretation. Continuous learning from interactions improves ability to connect and influence. Experience builds confidence, accuracy, and instinctive understanding. Integration of strategies ensures mastery. Active listening, empathy, observation, timing, adaptation, validation, storytelling, and presence collectively foster connection and influence. Applying these strategies consistently strengthens interpersonal skill and enables effective communication in diverse situations. This chapter has provided strategies for instant connection and influence. Active listening, Empathy, observation, adaptation, storytelling, presence, and validation create trust and rapport. Understanding personality, emotion, and motivation enhances receptivity and strengthens impact. Subsequent chapters will explore advanced techniques for reading cues, building rapport quickly, and applying influence effectively in complex situations. Chapter 8. Building rapport through subtle communication. Building rapport is essential for creating trust, connection, and influence. Subtle communication is the foundation of effective rapport. Small gestures, tone, posture, and attentive listening convey understanding and empathy. Mastering subtle communication allows people to feel valued and understood, forming the basis of strong relationships. Observation is the first step. Notice posture, facial expression, eye contact, tone, and pace. These cues reveal emotional state, openness, and receptivity. People respond positively when they feel observed and understood without judgment. Observation allows adaptation to match their energy and style, enhancing connection. Mirroring builds subconscious alignment. Reflecting gestures, posture, expressions, and tone naturally fosters comfort. Mirroring should be subtle and unforced to avoid suspicion. People instinctively feel rapport when their behavior is mirrored, creating trust and receptivity. It is one of the most effective techniques for building connection quickly. Active listening conveys attention and respect. Listening involves more than hearing words. Tone, pauses, emphasis, and emotion are critical. Reflecting back key points or rephrasing demonstrates understanding. Asking clarifying questions shows interest and encourages further sharing, deepening connection. Empathy strengthens subtle communication. Imagining yourself in another person's perspective enables accurate interpretation of feelings and intentions. Empathy guides responses, ensuring they align with emotional and social needs. People sense genuine understanding, which builds rapport. Nonverbal cues amplify connection. Eye contact, facial expression, posture, and gestures convey engagement. Open posture and relaxed gestures indicate receptiveness. Subtle nods and smiles communicate acknowledgement and encouragement. Aligning nonverbal behavior with verbal communication ensures clarity and fosters trust. Tone of voice conveys emotion and intent. Modulating pitch, pace, and volume communicates engagement and sensitivity. A calm, steady tone conveys confidence and reliability. Matching tone with the listener's emotional state demonstrates empathy and strengthens rapport. Observing their tone also informs appropriate response style. Language choice is critical. Using inclusive, positive, and clear language encourages openness. Phrasing and word selection reflect understanding and respect for the listener's perspective. Repetition of key words and ideas subtly reinforces alignment and comfort. Thoughtful language promotes connection without overt persuasion. Timing impacts rapport. Delivering messages when the listener is receptive ensures better engagement. Observing body language, emotional state, and attention level allows optimal timing. Poorly timed comments or questions may reduce comfort and hinder connection. Attentive timing demonstrates awareness and respect. Validation fosters trust. Acknowledging emotions, opinions, or experiences communicates understanding. Validation does not require agreement, only recognition of perspective. People naturally respond positively when their feelings are recognized, creating a foundation for rapport. Subtle feedback guides interaction. Gentle cues, nods, and verbal acknowledgement reinforce understanding. Positive reinforcement and cooperation. Feedback delivered subtly enhances engagement without imposing judgment or pressure. Micro-behaviors reveal emotion and intent. Small shifts in posture, gestures, facial expressions, and eye movement communicate comfort, interest, or hesitation. Observing these micro-behaviors allows adjustment of communication to maintain alignment and rapport. Patterns indicate personality and preferences. Consistent behaviors reveal temperament, cognitive style, and social priorities. Recognizing these patterns allows subtle adaptation of communication style to match personality. Alignment with personality fosters natural connection and ease of interaction. Emotionally attuned responses strengthen rapport. Matching emotional intensity and energy facilitates comfort. Over time, emotional attunement enhances mutual understanding and trust. Awareness of emotional signals ensures responses align with underlying feelings. Silence can be powerful, allowing space for reflection. Pause, or thought, demonstrates patience and attentiveness. Silence can encourage sharing and indicates respect for the listener's pace. Strategic use of silence strengthens subtle communication and deepens rapport. Observation of clusters improves accuracy. Single gestures may be ambiguous. Multiple cues from posture, expression, tone, and speech clarify meaning. Interpreting clusters rather than isolated signals ensures reliable understanding of emotion, intent, and receptivity. Empathy and observation combine for intuitive communication. Understanding internal experience while noticing external cues allows precise response. Predicting needs, intentions, and comfort levels strengthens subtle influence. Rapport is reinforced when communication feels natural and aligned. Adaptation maintains connection. Adjusting language, tone, and behavior based on observed signals ensures engagement. Flexibility demonstrates attentiveness and increases comfort. People respond positively when they perceive communication aligns with their preferences without manipulation. Trust grows from consistency. Aligning verbal, nonverbal, and behavioral cues over time creates reliability. Consistency fosters openness and willingness to engage. Trust forms the foundation of meaningful rapport and lasting influence. Storytelling enhances subtle communication. Sharing relatable experiences or examples engages attention and provides context. Stories convey values, perspective, and emotion, creating relatability. Effective storytelling incorporates detail, clarity, and relevance, fostering connection and understanding. Questions encourage engagement. Open-ended questions invite reflection and sharing, while focused questions uncover priorities or concerns. Thoughtful questioning demonstrates interest, promotes dialogue, and strengthens rapport. Listening attentively to responses provides insight into motivation and thought patterns. Subtle influence emerges from alignment. When verbal, nonverbal, and emotional cues align, people naturally feel comfortable and receptive. Influence occurs without overt effort when communication matches listener needs, energy, and personality. Alignment creates trust and cooperation effortlessly. Observation and reflection enhance skill. After interactions, consider cues, responses, and patterns observed. Reflect on emotional, verbal, and nonverbal signals to improve future interactions. Regular practice strengthens instinctive understanding of subtle communication. Conflict can test rapport. Handling disagreement with empathy, observation, and calm communication preserves trust. Maintaining alignment and validating emotions during conflict ensures continued connection. Subtle cues and attentive listening guide resolution and reinforce rapport. Presence communicates attentiveness. Being mentally and physically present signals focus and respect. Eye contact, body orientation, and active listening convey engagement. Presence amplifies subtle communication and strengthens interpersonal connection. Integration of strategies ensures mastery. Observation, empathy, reflection, mirroring, validation, timing, tone, and subtle feedback collectively build effective rapport. Consistent practice across situations develops instinctive recognition of cues and strengthens ability to connect. This chapter has explained the power of subtle communication in building rapport. Attention to gestures, posture, tone, expression, timing, empathy, and validation fosters trust and connection. Observing patterns and micro-behaviors enhances understanding. Subsequent chapters will explore advanced techniques for influence, persuasion, and deepening connection to create meaningful relationships. Chapter 9. Reading and responding to subtle social cues. Subtle social cues are powerful indicators of thought, feeling, and intention. People communicate constantly through gestures, posture, facial expression, tone, and micro-behaviors. Learning to read these cues allows accurate interpretation of emotion, motivation, and likely behavior. Responding appropriately strengthens connection, builds trust, and enhances influence. Observation is key. Watch posture, gestures, facial expressions, eye contact, and tone. Each provides information about emotional state, comfort level, and engagement. Subtle shifts in these cues often reveal reaction to conversation or environment. Awareness of these signals allows timely and appropriate response. Facial expressions convey emotion instantly. Happiness is expressed through smiles, relaxed eyes, and smooth movement. Sadness appears in downward gaze, tension around the mouth, and slow blinking. Anger emerges through narrowed eyes, tight jaw, and stiffened posture. Micro-expressions may flash briefly, revealing feelings before verbal acknowledgement. Observing subtle facial cues provides insight into emotional state and intention. Posture communicates attitude and receptivity. Leaning forward indicates interest and engagement. Leaning back may signify discomfort, skepticism, or detachment. Open posture signals openness and willingness to communicate. Closed posture, crossed arms, or slouched position reflects defensiveness or withdrawal. Recognizing posture allows adaptation to maintain rapport and comfort. Gestures add clarity to expression. Open hands convey honesty and receptiveness. Fidgeting or tapping often reflects nervousness or impatience. Repeated small gestures indicate habitual behavior or emotional state. Observing gestures in combination with other cues ensures accurate interpretation of emotion and intention. Eye contact is revealing. Direct gaze communicates confidence, engagement, and sincerity. Avoiding eye contact may indicate discomfort, insecurity, or evasion. Blinking rate, pupil dilation, and gaze direction provide additional cues about focus, stress, or interest. Accurate reading of eye behavior strengthens understanding of internal state and likely behavior. Tone of voice is essential for interpretation. Pitch, volume, rhythm, and pacing reflect emotional intensity and intent. Calm and steady tone signals control and reliability. Rapid or high-pitched tone may indicate excitement, anxiety, or stress. Listening carefully to tone alongside verbal content enhances comprehension of underlying meaning. Clusters of signals improve accuracy. Single gestures or expressions can be ambiguous. Multiple cues from posture, gestures, facial expressions, eye movement, and tone clarify emotion and intent. Observing clusters rather than isolated behaviors ensures a more reliable understanding of subtle social cues. Context is critical. Cultural norms, social environment, and situational factors influence expression. What is typical in one setting may be unusual in another. Awareness of context prevents misinterpretation and ensures accurate decoding of behavior and intention. Behavior under stress reveals authentic signals. Stress often amplifies habitual behaviors and micro-expressions. Individuals may exhibit subtle signs of discomfort, agitation, or assertiveness under pressure. Observing these amplified cues allows insight into genuine emotional state and underlying motivations. Patterns emerge through repeated observation. Consistent behavior across different situations reflects stable personality traits and tendencies. Repeated micro-behaviors, gestures and expressions reveal habitual responses. Recognizing these patterns improves ability to predict reactions and tailor responses appropriately. Empathy enhances cue interpretation. Imagining oneself in another's position provides insight into feelings, needs, and motivations. Empathy allows recognition of subtle signals and strengthens accuracy of perception. People feel understood when empathy is reflected in observation and response, building trust and connection. Silence carries meaning. Pauses, hesitation, or moments of quiet often indicate processing, uncertainty, or contemplation. Observing when someone pauses or withdraws provides insight into thought process and emotional state. Strategic use of silence in response communicates patience and attentiveness. Motivation influences subtle cues. Excitement, interest, or enthusiasm appears in posture, gestures, tone, and facial expression. Withdrawal, avoidance, or tension signals lack of engagement, concern, or resistance. Observing these cues allows inference of priorities, values, and likely behavior. Adaptation ensures effective response. Observing cues and adjusting communication style, tone, gestures, and language fosters comfort and alignment. Subtle adaptation demonstrates attentiveness and responsiveness, strengthening rapport and influence. People naturally respond positively to those who adjust appropriately while remaining authentic. Micro-behaviors indicate hidden emotion. Small shifts in posture, brief expressions, or minor gestures reveal internal state that may be concealed verbally. Attention to these behaviors uncovers emotions and intentions that words alone may hide. Observation of micro-behaviors strengthens predictive accuracy. Feedback communicates alignment. Subtle acknowledgement, nods, and responsive expressions show understanding and engage. Positive reinforcement of verbal or non-verbal contributions fosters openness. Thoughtful feedback enhances interaction and builds trust without overt pressure. Timing enhances responsiveness. Delivering messages or responses when the listener is attentive and receptive maximizes impact. Observing emotional and attentional cues allows precise timing. Poorly timed responses can disrupt flow, reduce comfort, and weaken connection. Consistency reinforces interpretation. Observing repeated behavior, expressions and reactions over time confirms understanding of tendencies and preferences. Inconsistencies may indicate adaptation, stress, or situational influence. Long-term observation ensures accurate comprehension of social cues. Storytelling enhances subtle communication. Narratives resonate emotionally and cognitively, creating engagement and relatability. Effective storytelling incorporates relevant detail, pacing and tone aligned with listener cues. Stories communicate values, priorities, and perspective while building rapport. Questions deepen understanding. Open-ended questions invite reflection, expression, and sharing. Listening to responses reveals preferences, priorities, and emotional state. Thoughtful questioning encourages dialogue and fosters connection, providing additional data for interpreting subtle cues. Trust grows through accurate interpretation. Correctly reading cues and responding appropriately communicates attentiveness and understanding. Trust reinforces receptivity and encourages cooperation. Accurate reading of social signals enhances influence and strengthens relationships. Presence is critical. Focused attention, engaged posture, and mindful listening signal commitment to interaction. Presence reinforces subtle communication and demonstrates reliability. Being fully present enhances comprehension of micro-behaviors and emotional nuances. Integration of observation, empathy, reflection, and adaptation ensures mastery. Monitoring gestures, tone, posture, Expression and context combined with thoughtful response produces accurate understanding. Practicing these skills across varied social situations strengthens instinctive recognition of subtle cues. Predictive ability improves with experience. Observing repeated responses and patterns allows anticipation of reactions, needs, and emotional states. Accurate prediction facilitates smoother interactions, effective communication, and increased influence. Conflict response demonstrates comprehension. Reading subtle signs during disagreement, such as shifts in posture, tone, or gaze, allows adjustment of approach to maintain rapport. Calm, empathetic, and observant responses resolve tension while preserving connection. Subtle influence emerges from alignment. When verbal, non-verbal, and emotional signals align with observed social cues, people feel understood and receptive. Influence arises naturally from accurate observation, empathetic interpretation, and appropriate adaptation. Reflection consolidates learning. After interactions, review observed cues, behavior patterns, tone and response effectiveness. Reflecting improves future interpretation, strengthens instinct, and enhances ability to respond effectively to subtle social signals. Mastery develops over time. Continuous practice across different environments, social contexts, and personalities builds expertise. Observation, adaptation, and reflection combine to create intuitive understanding. Subtle social cues become easier to detect, interpret, and respond to effectively. This chapter has shown how to read and respond to subtle social cues. Observation of posture, gestures, facial expression, eye contact, tone, micro behaviors, context, and patterns allows accurate interpretation of emotion, intent, and preference. Empathy, reflection, and adaptation enhance understanding. Subsequent chapters will explore advanced techniques for creating influence, shaping perception, and deepening connection in complex interaction. Chapter 10. Techniques for instant rapport and persuasion. Rapport and persuasion are closely linked. People are more open to influence when they feel understood, valued, and connected. Building instant rapport relies on subtle observation, active listening, empathy, and adaptability. Persuasion becomes effective when rapport is established naturally. Observation is the foundation. Notice posture, gestures, facial expressions, tone, and pacing. Each cue provides insight into comfort, engagement, and receptivity. Awareness allows adjustment to match energy and style, promoting comfort and openness. Subtle observation ensures responses align with emotional and social state. Mirroring enhances subconscious rapport. Subtle imitation of posture, gestures, tone, and expressions fosters trust. Mirroring must be natural and unobtrusive. People instinctively feel more comfortable and receptive when their behavior is reflected. Effective mirroring builds rapid rapport, creating a basis for influence. Active listening strengthens connection. Fully attending to words, tone, and emotional signals demonstrates interest and respect. Listening involves absorbing meaning beyond verbal content. Nonverbal communication reinforces connection. Eye contact, posture, gestures, and facial expression convey engagement and sincerity. Open posture, relaxed gestures, and nodding indicate attentiveness. Alignment between verbal and nonverbal signals increases credibility. Accurate observation of nonverbal cues informs adaptive response. Tone of voice influences perception. Pitch, volume, rhythm, and emphasis reveal emotional state and intention. Matching tone to the listener's emotional state demonstrates attentiveness and empathy. Calm and steady tone conveys confidence and credibility. Adjusting tone subtly enhances persuasion without pressure. Language shapes understanding and influence. Positive, clear, and inclusive language encourages engagement. Phrasing reflects respect for perspective and priorities. Emphasizing shared values and aligning communication with listener interests strengthens connection. Language adaptation increases receptivity and effectiveness. Timing is critical. Delivering responses when the listener is attentive and receptive ensures maximum impact. Observing cues such as eye contact, body orientation, and tone allows precise timing. Poorly timed comments or questions reduce comfort and hinder persuasion. Validation reinforces trust. Acknowledging emotions, opinions, and contributions communicates understanding. Validation does not require agreement, only recognition of perspective. People respond positively when their perspective is acknowledged, creating a foundation for persuasion. Single gestures or expressions may be ambiguous. Combining posture, gestures, facial expressions, tone and verbal content clarifies meaning. Observing clusters ensures accurate understanding of emotional state, engagement, and receptivity. Storytelling engages attention. Narratives resonate emotionally and cognitively, increasing influence. Stories convey values, lessons, and perspective. Effective storytelling incorporates detail, pacing, and tone aligned with the listener's cues. Stories enhance connection and persuasiveness. Questions encourage interaction. Open-ended questions invite reflection and sharing. Focused questions uncover priorities, concerns, and preferences. Thoughtful questioning demonstrates interest and promotes dialogue. Listening to responses provides insight into motivation and allows adjustment of approach. Emotional attunement strengthens persuasion. Matching intensity, energy, and mood facilitates comfort. Awareness of emotional signals enables subtle alignment. People are more receptive when emotional states are aligned, increasing openness and influence. Adaptation ensures alignment. Adjusting language, tone, posture, and gestures to match observed cues strengthens connection. Flexibility demonstrates attentiveness without manipulation. People respond naturally to those who adapt appropriately while remaining authentic. Predicting response improves strategy. Observing patterns of behavior, emotional signals, and engagement allows anticipation of reactions. Accurate prediction facilitates smoother communication and effective persuasion. Understanding tendencies and priorities informs approach. Trust is essential. Consistency in words, actions, and responses establishes reliability. Trust fosters openness, cooperation, and willingness to engage. People are more likely to be persuaded when they trust intent and credibility. Conflict management preserves rapport. Handling disagreement with empathy, observation, and calm communication maintains trust. Adjusting approach based on subtle cues reduces tension and preserves connection. Constructive conflict resolution strengthens influence. Feedback enhances engagement. Subtle verbal acknowledgement, nods, and responsive gestures reinforce understanding. Positive reinforcement encourages cooperation and openness. Effective feedback maintains alignment and strengthens rapport. Presence amplifies effectiveness. Focused attention, engaged posture, and active listening signal involvement. Presence reinforces subtle communication and demonstrates commitment. Being fully present increases the accuracy of observation and strengthens influence. Integration of techniques ensures mastery. Observation, empathy, reflection, mirroring, validation, timing, tone, storytelling, questioning, and adaptation collectively create rapid rapport. Consistent practice across diverse interactions builds instinctive ability to connect and persuade. Ethical influence relies on alignment and authenticity. Effective persuasion respects autonomy, considers needs, and communicates transparently. Influence rooted in authenticity fosters trust and long-term connection. Manipulation or coercion undermines rapport and reduces credibility. Reflection consolidates learning. Reviewing interactions, cues, responses, and outcomes improves interpretation and skill. Continuous practice enhances instinctive recognition of subtle signals and ability to respond effectively. Reflection strengthens mastery of rapport and persuasive communication. Mastery develops through experience. Observing multiple interactions across varied contexts and personalities builds integration of observation, empathy, adaptation, and feedback enhances understanding. Subtle communication and rapport skills become intuitive with practice. This chapter has explained techniques for building instant rapport and persuasion. Active listening, mirroring, empathy, observation, adaptation, storytelling, questioning, validation, timing, and presence create trust and connection. Accurate interpretation of subtle cues increases receptivity, influence, and long-term relational success. Subsequent chapters will explore advanced strategies for deepening influence, shaping perception, and enhancing interpersonal effectiveness. Chapter 11. Reading intentions and hidden motivations. Understanding hidden motivations is essential for interpreting behavior accurately and predicting actions. People often act on desires, fears, or priorities that are not explicitly expressed. Observing subtle signals, patterns, and context allows insight into underlying intentions and authentic drives. Recognizing hidden motivations enhances connection, communication, and influence. Motivation drives behavior. Every action originates from a desire to achieve a goal, fulfill a need, or avoid discomfort. Observing patterns of decision-making, emotional response, and interaction provides clues to what motivates an individual. Consistent behaviors reveal stable priorities, while deviations may indicate situational influence or temporary emotions. Observation is the first step. Watch posture, gestures, facial expressions, tone of voice, and micro-behaviors. Each conveys information about engagement, comfort, and intention. Subtle changes in behavior often indicate internal conflict, hesitation, or interest. Attention to these signals improves accuracy of interpretation. Facial expressions reveal hidden emotion. Happiness, frustration, confusion, or curiosity often manifest subtly. Micro-expressions appear briefly before conscious control is applied. Observing these fleeting cues provides insight into what a person truly feels and wants, even when words conceal intent. Posture communicates priorities and comfort. Leaning forward demonstrates interest or engagement. Leaning back may indicate doubt, disengagement, or caution. Closed posture signals defensiveness, while open posture communicates openness and willingness. Recognizing these signals aids interpretation of underlying motivations. Gestures reinforce emotional state. Fidgeting, tapping, or adjusting clothing may indicate nervousness or anticipation. Open hand gestures convey sincerity and receptivity. Small repeated movements often reveal habitual responses and unconscious thought patterns. Observing gestures in context allows better understanding of intentions. Tone and voice convey emotion and intention. Variations in pitch, rhythm, volume, and pace indicate excitement, hesitation, or stress. Calm and steady tone signals control and confidence, while rapid or high-pitched speech reflects anxiety or urgency. Listening carefully to tone alongside verbal content reveals underlying motivation. Clusters of cues enhance accuracy. Single gestures or expressions can be misleading. Combining posture, gesture, facial expression, tone, and verbal content clarifies emotional state and intention. Observing clusters reduces misinterpretation and ensures more reliable assessment of hidden motivation. Context is critical. Social norms, culture, environment, and situational pressures shape behavior. Actions that appear unusual in one context may be typical in another. Awareness of context ensures accurate interpretation of hidden motivations and prevents misunderstanding. Emotions are windows to intention. Excitement, frustration, or anxiety often accompany action related to priorities, desires, or fears. Observing emotional responses in real time allows inference of significance and probable behavior. Emotional intensity reflects the strength of underlying motivation. Patterns over time reveal consistency. Repeated behaviors across situations reflect stable priorities, values, and drives. Inconsistencies may suggest temporary influences, internal conflict, or external pressure. People respond positively when empathy is reflected in observation and response, building trust and connection. Micro-behaviors reveal concealed thoughts. Small expressions, posture shifts, gestures, and eye movements often betray hidden intent. Even when words are controlled, these subtle signals provide clues to internal state. Awareness of micro-behaviors enhances predictive accuracy and understanding of motivation. Decision-making patterns indicate priorities. Observing how someone evaluates options, makes choices, and responds to outcomes reveals what matters most to them. People prioritize actions based on importance, alignment with goals, and avoidance of discomfort. Recognizing patterns of decision-making allows insight into hidden motivations. Responses to reward and consequence illuminate drives. Positive reinforcement strengthens certain behaviors, while negative consequences reduce others. Tracking these patterns over time highlights what motivates someone, providing clues to their true intentions. Conflict behavior reveals authenticity. How a person navigates disagreement, negotiation, or challenge reflects underlying priorities, values, and emotional drivers. Some act defensively, others strategically, and some collaboratively. Observing conflict style provides insight into hidden motivations. Empathy and observation together enhance understanding. Recognizing emotional cues and internal perspective allows intuitive perception of needs, desires, and priorities. Anticipating responses based on hidden motivations facilitates smoother communication and stronger connection. Silence can reveal intent. Pauses, hesitations, or quiet reflection often indicate thought processing, uncertainty, or strategic consideration. People are more likely to reveal authentic motivations when they feel understood. Adaptation strengthens connection. Adjusting language, tone, posture, and gestures to align with observed cues fosters comfort. Flexibility communicates attentiveness and increases receptivity. Effective adaptation strengthens trust, rapport, and insight into hidden motivation. Predicting behavior relies on integrating multiple cues. Observing emotional signals, body language, tone, verbal content, and context allows anticipation of likely actions. Combining these elements provides a holistic understanding of intentions and priorities. Energy and presence amplify interpretation. Engaged and focused attention communicates involvement and reliability. Presence ensures subtle cues are noticed and interpreted accurately. Mindful awareness of interaction enhances understanding of hidden motivations. Subtle influence emerges from understanding motives. Aligning communication with priorities and emotional state increases receptivity and cooperation. Influence rooted in recognition of authentic motivation strengthens trust and connection. All feedback guides interaction. Subtle acknowledgement, nods, and responsive expressions reinforce understanding. Positive reinforcement encourages openness, revealing more about internal priorities. Effective feedback enhances insight and strengthens rapport. Integration of strategies ensures mastery. Observation, empathy, reflection, pattern recognition, and adaptation collectively provide reliable understanding of hidden motivations. Practicing across varied contexts builds instinctive ability to read intentions and respond effectively. Reflection consolidates learning. Reviewing interactions, observed cues, and responses strengthens understanding of hidden motivations. Regular practice improves recognition of subtle signals and predictive accuracy. Reflection ensures continual growth in interpersonal insight. Mastery develops with experience. Exposure to varied personalities, social situations, and emotional states enhances skill. Combining observation, Empathy, adaptation, and reflection creates intuitive understanding of hidden motivations and likely action. This chapter has explained techniques for reading intentions and hidden motivations, observation of micro-behaviors, posture, gestures, facial expression, tone, decision patterns, emotional cues, and context allows accurate interpretation of internal drives. Empathy, adaptation, and reflection strengthen comprehension. Subsequent chapters will explore advanced application of these insights for persuasion, influence, and building meaningful connections. Chapter 12. Applying influence ethically and effectively. Influence is a skill that carries responsibility. Using it ethically ensures trust, long-term connection, and positive outcomes. Ethical influence respects autonomy, considers needs, and communicates transparently. Effectiveness depends on understanding people, observing cues, and adapting communication while remaining genuine. Ethical influence begins with intention. The goal should be mutual benefit, understanding, or improvement, rather than manipulation or self-interest alone. Clarifying purpose ensures that actions align with moral standards and fosters trust. People are more receptive when influence is applied transparently and respectfully. Observation is central to effective influence. Paying attention to posture, gestures, tone, expressions, and behavior reveals receptivity and motivation. Subtle signals indicate comfort, hesitation, or openness. Accurate observation informs timing, phrasing, and delivery, increasing impact while maintaining ethical standards. Active listening reinforces trust. Listening attentively communicates respect and understanding. Reflecting, summarizing, and asking clarifying questions demonstrate engagement. People feel valued when their perspective is genuinely acknowledged, which enhances receptivity to influence. Empathy guides ethical application. Imagining oneself in the listener's situation reveals needs, priorities, and potential concerns. Empathetic understanding ensures that influence aligns with the other person's best interest. Influence applied without consideration of perspective risks manipulation and damages trust. Nonverbal communication supports ethical influence. Eye contact, posture, gestures, and facial expression convey sincerity and attentiveness. Open posture, relaxed gestures, and nodding indicate receptivity and respect. Aligning verbal and nonverbal behavior ensures authenticity and reinforces credibility. Tone and pacing affect perception. Calm, steady, and confident tone conveys competence and trustworthiness. Matching tone with listener energy demonstrates awareness and empathy. Adjusting pacing allows processing and absorption of information, enhancing receptivity. Language shapes influence. Positive, inclusive, and clear language encourages openness, framing suggestions around shared values, goals, and benefits demonstrates consideration. Avoiding coercion or pressure maintains ethical standards while enhancing persuasiveness. Timing enhances impact. Delivering messages when the listener is attentive and emotionally receptive increases effectiveness. Observing cues such as eye contact, posture, and tone allows precise timing. Poor timing may reduce comfort and trust, undermining ethical influence. Building rapport is essential. Mirroring posture, gestures, tone, and expressions subtly fosters comfort. Active listening, validation, and empathy strengthen connection. Trust established through rapport forms the foundation for ethical and effective influence. Validation communicates respect. Recognizing emotions, opinions, and contributions acknowledges perspective without requiring agreement. Validation encourages openness and facilitates understanding of needs and priorities. People are more receptive when they feel understood and respected. Micro-behaviors indicate hidden response. Small gestures, subtle expressions, and shifts in posture reveal engagement or discomfort. Observing these cues allows adaptation without pressure or coercion. Accurate reading of micro-behaviors ensures influence aligns with receptivity. Clusters of cues improve reliability. Single signals may be ambiguous. Combining posture, gestures, facial expression, tone, and verbal content clarifies intent and emotional state. Observing clusters ensures ethical application by responding appropriately to real signals. Storytelling enhances influence. Narratives engage attention, provide context, and convey values. Effective stories are relevant, emotionally resonant, and aligned with listener cues. Stories communicate understanding, relatability, and shared perspective, strengthening ethical influence. Questions encourage dialogue. Open-ended questions invite reflection and sharing. Focused questions reveal priorities, concerns, and motivations. Thoughtful questioning demonstrates interest, promotes cooperation, and builds trust. Listening attentively to responses informs appropriate influence strategies. Emotional attunement strengthens ethical influence. Aligning energy, tone, and intensity facilitates comfort and receptivity. Observing emotional signals allows subtle adjustment. People are more responsive when communication matches emotional state, fostering authentic connection. Adaptation ensures effective adjusting language, tone, gestures, and posture to observed cues increases alignment and comfort. Flexible adaptation communicates attentiveness while maintaining authenticity. Ethical influence arises when communication adapts without manipulation. Predictive ability enhances strategy. Consistent words, actions, and behavior establish credibility. Trust reinforces willingness to listen, engage, and cooperate. Ethical influence relies on trust as the foundation for sustainable impact. Conflict handling preserves rapport. Navigating disagreement with empathy, observation, and calm communication maintains trust. Responding to subtle cues and addressing concerns constructively ensures continued connection and ethical application of influence. Feedback guides behavior. Subtle acknowledgement, nods, and responsive expressions demonstrate understanding. Positive reinforcement encourages engagement without pressure. Feedback enhances receptivity while maintaining ethical standards. Presence amplifies effectiveness. Focused attention, active listening, and engaged posture convey sincerity and reliability. Mindful awareness ensures accurate interpretation of subtle cues and appropriate adaptation. Presence reinforces ethical communication and influence. Integration ensures mastery. Observation, empathy, reflection, mirroring, validation, timing, tone, storytelling, questioning, adaptation, and feedback collectively create effective, ethical influence. Practicing these strategies in varied context develops instinctive ability to connect, understand, and guide responsibly. Reflection consolidates learning. Reviewing interactions, outcomes, and observed cues strengthens understanding of ethical influence. Continuous practice enhances recognition of subtle signals, predicts response, and improves ethical application. Reflection ensures continual improvement and mastery. Experience develops intuition. Exposure to diverse personalities, social situations, and emotional states improves judgment and responsiveness. Integrating observation, empathy, and adaptation enhances ability to influence effectively without coercion. Ethical influence becomes instinctive through practice. This chapter has outlined the principles and techniques for applying influence ethically and effective. Observation, active listening, empathy, adaptation, validation, timing, tone, storytelling, questioning, presence, and reflection provide a comprehensive framework. Ethical influence fosters trust, strengthens rapport, and enhances long-term impact. Subsequent chapters will focus on advanced strategies for deepening influence, creating meaningful connection, and guiding behavior responsibly. Chapter 13. Advanced Techniques for Understanding and Influence. Mastering understanding and influence requires advanced techniques that integrate observation, empathy, adaptation, and subtle communication. These methods go beyond basic rapport and allow accurate perception of internal states, hidden motivations, and potential behaviors. Applying them responsibly enhances connection and effectiveness. Observation is fundamental. Noticing posture, gestures, facial expression, eye movement, tone, and micro-behaviors provides insight into emotional state, attention, and intention. Subtle changes often indicate shifts in thought or feeling. Accurate observation is the basis for effective influence and understanding. Clusters of cues improve interpretation. Single gestures or expressions can be misleading. Combining multiple signals from body language, tone, and verbal content clarifies meaning. Observing clusters ensures more reliable assessment of emotional state, motivation, and receptivity. Empathy enhances perception. Imagining oneself in another person's position reveals unspoken priorities, needs, and fears. Mirroring builds subconscious alignment. Subtle reflection of posture, tone, gestures, and expressions fosters comfort and rapport. Mirroring should be natural and unforced to avoid suspicion. It accelerates trust building and sets the stage for effective influence. Active listening is crucial. Fully attending to words, tone, and emotion demonstrates respect and understanding. Reflecting content, asking clarifying questions, and summarizing demonstrates comprehension. Active listening deepens connection and increases receptivity to suggestion. Adaptation ensures alignment. Adjusting language, tone, gestures, and posture to match observed cues enhances comfort and trust. Flexibility communicates attentiveness without manipulation. Effective adaptation strengthens influence while maintaining ethical integrity. Predictive observation strengthens strategy. Recognizing behavioral patterns, decision-making tendencies, and emotional responses allows anticipation of actions. Predictive ability facilitates smooth interaction and enhances credibility. Accurate prediction is a cornerstone of advanced influence. Subtle feedback guides behavior. Nods, expressions, and verbal acknowledgement reinforce understanding. Positive reinforcement in collaboration. Thoughtful feedback supports ethical influence and calibration. Thoughtful feedback supports ethical influence and deepens connection. Storytelling engages and persuades. Narratives provide context, convey values, and foster relatability. Effective stories incorporate pacing, emotional resonance, and alignment with listener cues. Stories enhance comprehension and strengthen trust, facilitating influence. Emotionally attuned responses deepen rapport, matching energy, tone, and intensity to the listener's state, fosters comfort and trust. Awareness of subtle emotional cues ensures that communication aligns with internal experience, enhancing influence. Timing and pacing are critical. Delivering messages when the listener is attentive and emotionally receptive maximizes impact. Observing readiness and engagement signals enables precise timing, which improves comprehension and strengthens connection. Trust is essential. Consistency, reliability, and transparency establish credibility. Ethical influence relies on trust as the foundation for cooperation and openness. People are more receptive to guidance when they believe intent is genuine and aligned with their interest. Presence amplifies effectiveness. Fully focused attention, engaged posture, and mindful listening signal involvement and reliability. Presence allows accurate perception of subtle cues and strengthens rapport, supporting advanced influence strategies. Conflict provides insight. How someone reacts to disagreement, challenge, or negotiation, reveals priorities, values, and hidden motivations. Observing subtle cues during conflict allows adaptive communication and preserves trust while achieving objectives. Validation strengthens influence. Recognizing emotions, thoughts, and contributions without requiring agreement demonstrates respect. Validation encourages sharing and cooperation. People respond positively when they feel understood, enhancing receptivity. Ethical application ensures sustainability. Influence should respect autonomy, consider needs, and communicate transparently. Manipulative approaches undermine trust and long-term effectiveness. Ethical influence builds credibility and fosters durable relationships. Reflection consolidates learning. Reviewing interactions, cues, and outcomes strengthens recognition of patterns and improves strategy. Reflecting on successes and challenges enhances instinctive ability to interpret subtle signals and respond effectively. Integration of techniques ensures mastery. Observation, empathy, adaptation, mirroring, validation, timing, feedback, storytelling, and questioning collectively develop advanced understanding and influence. Regular practice across diverse contexts builds confidence and skill. Experience refines intuition. Exposure to varied personalities, social situations, and emotional states enhances predictive accuracy and responsiveness. Integrating multiple techniques allows intuitive perception of hidden motivations and subtle behavioral signals. Influence arises naturally from alignment. When communication, behavior, and emotional cues align with observed signals, people feel understood and receptive. Alignment fosters cooperation, trust, and meaningful connection without pressure or manipulation. Presence and reflection sustain effectiveness. Mindful engagement and post-interaction reflection strengthen awareness of subtle cues, emotional dynamics, and effective strategies. These practices reinforce ethical application and continuous growth in skill. Advanced techniques empower meaningful connection. Integrating observation, empathy, adaptation, and ethical persuasion creates strong rapport, accurate perception, and effective influence. Mastery ensures communication is responsive, responsible, and impactful. This chapter has explained advanced techniques for understanding and influence. Observation of clusters, micro-expressions, posture, gestures, tone, verbal cues, and emotional signals allows precise perception of internal states and motivation. Active listening, adaptation, storytelling, questioning, and reflection strengthen ethical application. Subsequent chapters will explore strategies for sustaining influence, deepening connection, and creating long-term relational impact. Chapter 14. Sustaining influence and deepening connection. Influence is most powerful when it is sustained, and when connections are deepened over time. Short-term persuasion may produce compliance, but long-lasting influence relies on trust, consistency, and mutual understanding. Deep connections foster cooperation, receptivity, and alignment in personal and professional interaction. Consistency reinforces trust. People respond positively when words, actions, and behavior are predictable and reliable. Maintaining consistency in communication and behavior demonstrates integrity and builds credibility. Sustained influence is impossible without a foundation of trust and dependability. Observation remains critical. Monitoring subtle cues, such as posture, gestures, facial expressions, tone, and micro-behaviors allows ongoing assessment of engagement, comfort, and motivation. Continuous observation ensures responses remain aligned with changing emotional and cognitive states. Empathy deepens connection. Imagining oneself in the perspective of another reveals needs, priorities, and underlying motivations. Empathetic engagement demonstrates understanding and authenticity, fostering openness and collaboration. People are naturally more receptive to those who consistently reflect empathy. Active listening strengthens long-term influence, fully attending to verbal content, tone, and emotional signals demonstrates respect and interest. Reflecting ideas, summarizing and asking thoughtful questions communicate understanding. Sustained listening builds a sense of value and recognition, deepening relational bonds. Adaptation ensures alignment and adjusting communication style, tone, gestures and language to match observed cues maintains comfort and trust. Flexibility communicates attentiveness and responsiveness without manipulation. Ethical adaptation supports lasting influence. Feedback is essential. Positive reinforcement, acknowledgement, and responsive expressions convey recognition of contributions and perspective. Feedback encourages engagement, clarifies expectations, and reinforces alignment. Consistent feedback sustains cooperation and strengthens relational bonds. Microbehaviors provide ongoing insight. Small gestures, posture shifts, facial micro-expressions, and tonal changes reveal evolving emotional state and engagement. Attention to these subtle signals allows timely adjustments, enhancing comfort, receptivity, and influence. Clusters of cues increase reliability. Interpreting multiple behaviors together rather than in isolation improves understanding of emotional state and intention. Observing clusters allows accurate response and alignment, which is essential for sustaining influence. Trust is maintained through authenticity. Consistently aligning words, actions, and intentions creates credibility. Authenticity reinforces confidence and cooperation. People respond positively when influence is applied transparently and ethically over time. Storytelling maintains engagement. Narratives resonate emotionally and cognitively, reinforcing understanding and values. Well-structured stories foster relatability, illustrate principles, and deepen connection. Repetition and variation of meaningful stories strengthen long-term relational impact. Timing and pacing continue to matter. Delivering ideas when listeners are attentive and emotionally receptive maximizes understanding. Observing engagement cues allows adjustment of timing and emphasis to maintain connection and sustain influence. Validation supports continued openness. Recognizing perspectives, emotions, and contributions without judgment encourages continued sharing and engagement. People are more likely to reveal authentic thoughts and motivations when they feel valued and understood. Presence enhances ongoing influence. Fully focused attention, engaged posture, and mindful observation signal reliability and investment in the interaction. Presence ensures subtle cues are noticed and interpreted accurately, reinforcing connection and influence. Conflict can strengthen connection when handled appropriately. Observing emotional and behavioral cues during disagreement allows strategic and empathetic response. Constructive conflict resolution demonstrates reliability, understanding, and respect, which deepens trust and influence. Predictive observation allows proactive adjustment. Recognizing patterns in behavior, decision-making, and emotional responses enables anticipation of reactions. Accurate prediction facilitates smoother communication, proactive guidance, and alignment of expectation. Integration of techniques ensures sustainability. Observation, empathy, active listening, adaptation, mirroring, validation, storytelling, feedback, and reflection collectively support enduring influence and connection. Regular practice across diverse contexts enhances instinctive skill. Emotional attunement strengthens ongoing influence. Matching tone, intensity, and energy to the listener maintains comfort and receptivity. Awareness of subtle emotional shifts allows responsive adaptation. Emotional alignment reinforces trust and deepens connection. Reflection consolidates long-term mastery. Reviewing interactions, outcomes, and observed cues improves understanding of sustained influence strategies. Reflection enhances recognition of behavioral patterns, emotional signals, and effective adaptation. Continuous reflection promotes growth and competence. Experience refines intuition. Exposure to diverse personalities, contexts, and situations enhances predictive accuracy and responsiveness. Integrating multiple strategies builds instinctive understanding of emotional, cognitive, and social dynamics, ensuring sustained influence. Ethical application ensures trust and long-term connection. Influence applied with respect, transparency, and consideration for autonomy strengthens relationships. Ethical influence fosters credibility, promotes cooperation, and supports continued engagement. Integration of all learned skills maximizes impact. Observation, empathy, adaptation, active listening, storytelling, validation, feedback, emotional attunement, reflection, and ethical application, together, create resilient influence. Practitioners are able to navigate complex social interactions while maintaining authenticity and trust. Sustaining influence requires continuous engagement. People evolve, and so must communication strategies. Monitoring ongoing cues, adjusting approach, and remaining attuned to priorities and emotions maintains relevance and effectiveness. Long-term connection depends on consistent attention, care, and respect. Deep connections arise from alignment of values, interests, and understanding. Observing subtle signals, listening empathetically, and responding appropriately strengthens relational depth. Connection is reinforced when people feel consistently understood, respected, and valued. Advanced practitioners integrate presence, insight, and responsiveness. Mindful engagement, proactive adaptation, and ethical persuasion combine to create lasting influence. Influence is sustained through awareness, consistency, and relational alignment. Reflection after interactions strengthens skill. Analyzing cues, responses, and outcomes provides insight for future adaptation. Continuous learning and improvement enhance effectiveness, ensuring influence and connection endure. Mastery emerges from practice. Repeated application of observation, empathy, adaptation, feedback, storytelling, and ethical influence builds confidence and skill. Long-term application reinforces understanding of subtle signals and improves predictive accuracy. This chapter has explained strategies for sustaining influence and deepening connection. Consistent observation, empathy, adaptation, validation, active listening, storytelling, timing, presence, reflection, and ethical application create lasting trust and relational depth. Subsequent chapters will focus on applying these principles to create meaningful impact and leadership in social and professional settings. Chapter 15. Mastering Influence and Creating Meaningful Impact. Mastering influence is the culmination of understanding, empathy, observation, and ethical application. True mastery allows consistent connection, communication, and guidance that create meaningful impact in both personal and professional settings. Influence without mastery may be fleeting, but mastery ensures long-term effectiveness, trust, and credibility. Mastery begins with self-awareness, understanding your own motivations, emotional responses, strengths, and weaknesses, allows authentic interaction. Self-reflection ensures that influence is applied consciously and ethically. People respond more positively to those who act with integrity and clarity. Observation is refined at the mastery level. Subtle micro-behaviors, facial expressions, gestures, tone, and posture reveal nuanced emotional states and intention. Master practitioners integrate these signals to interpret hidden motivations, anticipate responses, and adjust approach dynamic. Empathy is deepened. Truly understanding another's perspective requires attention to context, emotion, and values. Mastery involves perceiving unspoken priorities and needs, which allows alignment of communication and action with their authentic interest. Empathy strengthens trust and connection, enhancing receptivity. Active listening is advanced beyond hearing words. The focus is on interpreting intent, emotion, and significance, reflecting meaning, asking insightful questions, and providing responses that demonstrate understanding reinforces connection. Listening at this level requires presence, patience, and attunement. Adaptation is instinctive. Mastery allows fluid adjustment of language, tone, gestures, and pacing based on observed cues. Accurate prediction facilitates smoother interaction, proactive guidance, and ethical influence. Mastery includes awareness of potential outcomes and planning communication accordingly. Mirroring is sophisticated. Subtle reflection of posture, tone, gestures, and energy builds rapport without overt mimicry. Mastery uses mirroring selectively and strategically to reinforce connection and comfort. People respond naturally to alignment without conscious awareness. Storytelling achieves maximal impact. Narratives convey principles, illustrate behavior, and create emotional resonance. Advanced practitioners craft stories tailored to the listener's values, priorities, and context. Storytelling engages attention, builds relatability, and reinforces desired perspectives or behavior. Questioning is purposeful. Open-ended and focused questions uncover hidden motivations, priorities, and concerns. Mastery involves guiding dialogue to surface meaningful insights without coercion. Thoughtful questioning strengthens engagement, builds trust, and enhances influence ethically. Emotional attunement is precise, matching intensity, tone, and energy to subtle shifts in emotional state, promotes comfort and connection. Mastery includes recognizing internalized emotion, adjusting responses, and fostering receptivity. Emotional alignment enhances long-term influence and relational depth. Timing and pacing are strategic. Delivering messages when the listener is attentive and receptive ensures maximum comprehension and impact. Observing readiness and subtle cues allows optimal delivery, maintaining engagement and reinforcing trust. Trust is the cornerstone of meaningful influence. Consistency, reliability, and transparency ensure credibility. Mastery involves demonstrating competence while respecting autonomy and values. Ethical behavior sustains trust and maximizes impact over time. Presence reinforces mastery. Fully focused attention, mindful awareness, and engaged posture communicate commitment and sincerity. Presence ensures accurate perception of subtle cues, reinforces connection, and strengthens relational influence. Conflict is navigated constructively. Understanding the underlying motivations, emotional state, and priorities during disagreement allows adaptive response. Mastery involves guiding resolution toward mutual understanding while preserving trust and alignment. Validation is applied strategically. Recognizing contributions, perspectives, and emotions reinforces engagement and encourages openness. Mastery balances acknowledgement with constructive guidance, maintaining receptivity and relational harmony. Feedback is purposeful and precise. Thoughtful acknowledgement, verbal reinforcement, and subtle cues communicate understanding and alignment. Effective feedback encourages participation, learning, and cooperation, while reinforcing trust. Integration of all techniques ensures mastery. Observation, empathy, adaptation, active listening, storytelling, mirroring, validation, feedback, emotional attunement, timing, and ethical practice together create consistent, effective influence. Mastery enables intuitive application across diverse situations. Reflection consolidates skill. Reviewing interactions, cues, responses, and outcomes strengthens perception, adaptability, and ethical decision-making. Continuous reflection improves predictive ability, responsiveness, and relational effectiveness. Mastery grows with deliberate analysis and learning. Experience refines intuition. Exposure to varied personalities, social contexts, and emotional dynamics develops instinctive understanding. Mastery involves combining observation, empathy, adaptation, and prediction to achieve optimal outcomes. Experience enhances both accuracy and confidence in influence. Ethical application ensures lasting impact. Influence applied with respect, transparency, and alignment with needs strengthens relationships. Mastery requires balancing effectiveness with integrity, fostering cooperation, and promoting mutual benefit. Ethical mastery sustains trust and credibility. Sustaining influence requires continuous engagement. People evolve, as do their priorities and motivations. Mastery involves monitoring subtle cues, adapting approach, and maintaining attentiveness. Long-term influence is achieved through consistent presence, care, and responsive communication. Meaningful impact arises from alignment. When communication, behavior, and values are congruent with the listener's priorities and emotions, connection deepens. People are more receptive, cooperative, and engaged when they feel authentically understood and supported. Mastery integrates intuition and skill. Skilled practitioners intuitively recognize subtle signals, anticipate responses, and adjust approach ethically and effectively. Integration of presence, empathy, observation, adaptation, and ethical persuasion ensures sustained influence and meaningful outcomes. Advanced practitioners apply influence responsibly. They understand the balance between persuasion and respect for autonomy. Ethical application ensures that outcomes benefit both parties, fostering collaboration, trust, and relational depth. Influence becomes a tool for positive change rather than manipulation. Reflection and continued practice reinforce mastery. Analyzing past interactions, observed cues, and results enhances future performance. Continuous improvement develops precision, responsiveness, and ethical judgment. Mastery is a lifelong process of learning, application, and refinement. This chapter has outlined principles and techniques for mastering influence and creating meaningful impact. Observation, empathy, adaptation, active listening, storytelling, mirroring, validation, feedback, emotional attunement, timing, presence, reflection, ethical practice, and continuous learning together enable consistent, effective, and responsible influence. By applying these strategies, practitioners cultivate trust, deepen connection, and achieve outcomes that are both impactful and sustainable. Mastery ensures influence is not fleeting, but enduring, ethical, and transformative.
The full audiobook on how to understand anyone instantly. By following the strategies, observing cues, and practicing the techniques shared in this audiobook, you have taken an important step toward mastering the art of understanding and connecting with people.
Remember that real mastery comes with practice. Applying these skills in everyday situations will strengthen your ability to read intentions, understand motivations, and communicate effectively. Reflection, observation, empathy, and ethical influence are your keys to sustained success. If you found this audiobook helpful, make sure to subscribe to Bookwaves Audio. This way you will receive more self-development audiobooks designed to help you grow personally and professionally. Sharing this audiobook with friends or colleagues can also help them improve their communication and understanding. Continue practicing the techniques you have learned. Observe, adapt, listen, and reflect. Over time, your influence will become natural, your understanding deeper, and your connections more meaningful. Your journey to understanding anyone instantly has just begun, and the skills you develop will impact every relationship in your life. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned for more audiobooks from Bookwaves Audio.